about it leads to loss of respect in the community. How? Ignoring our cultural practices has led to loss of respect. For example, incest. Incest is the act of having sexual intercourse with a unrelated person. For example, a father and a daughter, a mother and a son. How can people in the community provide respect to you, a father, when you're having sexual intercourse with your daughter? But those ancient days in Uganda society, families would gather locally known as Okumanyagana in quotes, which could bring people together, which could unite children and sit down, teach them the importance of culture and the dangers of carrying out incest. But now people of nowadays they no longer want to know each other. Even my next example is about last funeral lights, local known as Okwadia and Nimbe. Long ago, people could do these practices to bring people together, to mourn for some people who have got lost. But people of nowadays just use money. As long as they know money is everything, they wouldn't even like to represent themselves. They just, let me send money to those people to represent me. Those are bad practices. My second view, it has led to loss of community cohesion. For example, gone are the days long time ago, a woman was going to introduce her man who she's going to marry. They could promote family gathering. Different families could gather and know each other. For example, from if I am a daughter from Toro Kingdom and a man whom I'm going to introduce is from Buganda Kingdom, they could gather around and know different traditional practices carried out by different people in different societies. But people of nowadays just use social media handles. They just find themselves there. They like each other. They just go and marry each other, which has led to theft in the country. For example, in last year, a man was a very important person in the country was killed because of his woman. But why? They need to family gatherings, they need to know each other. Even for the elder chairperson, how can I go get a man and I just introduce him? I just go to civil laws, I just write and we marry each other. Those things do not promote culture, but those ancient people could promote family gathering, they know cultures of different societies, which could promote security and unity in a given society. When I'm concluding, in my conclusion, honoring our cultural practices is not just a practice, but is a continuous step towards a bright future. Honorable Chairperson, the two competing sides and the audience, together we can build a world that values and celebrates our rich practices. I remain as Kemba as the moderator of today's discussion, the two competing chambers plus the House at large. My name is Ngobase Julius, and I unequivocally affirm the motion with the understanding that ignoring our cultural practices is the main cause of bad behaviors in our community too, because of my following views. It has led to loss of heritage, cultural heritage. Cultural heritage is the legacy of physical property that is inherited from one generation to another. So, all of us, we study a subject called social studies, and under that subject, we study about Stone Age period. As I am still explaining, we have a subject of social studies, and all of us we study about the Stone Age period, whereby we study about the archaeological sites, e.g. the Nero rock paintings. Nowadays, people don't put hard work in their talents, e.g. artwork. But in that period, Aleman used to do his artwork on rocks. But nowadays it is hard to find a person to redraw those pictures. Why? Because of loss of creativity.
Thank you, Chairperson. Is it in order for the floor speaker to come onto his ground while looking like a Gadgadi pusher.
Chairperson. I think this honorable is trying to distract me and waste my time. But
No,
that
please.
won't try.
I'm trying to mean that. Did you check your shoelaces first before coming on the ground?
Did you check your dressing wear coming to school?
Yes, please.
Now why are you advising me yet even you are looking? This is a dress. Excuse me, you people, I don't want advice when the person advising me looks like so honorable. I am continuing.
Excuse me, Honorable. It's not around. Continue.
I'll do that later, thank you. My second point is
First, sort your soul. Continue.
that leads to loss of cultural values and practices. Cultural values like various ceremonies are being neglected due to my following expressions and explanations. In the ancient times, people used to gather so that they mourn for one, so that they accompany him or her. But nowadays, people have a mindset that money can work everywhere, yet it's not correct. How? People nowadays instead of gathering, they instead send money, which is a very bad impact of not showing respect to culture practices. With those lovely remarks,
Granted, Honorable Olive.
I'm here to affirm the motion which states that ignoring our cultural practices is the main cause of bad behaviors, according to my view.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, is it allowed to for a main speaker to come and just start a motion before even greeting the chairperson?
Not granted.
Excuse me, Honorable. I have summarized the greeting, all of them which they were using. Protocol observed. My first view is ignoring of our cultural practices has led to lack of moral guidance. Children of long ago, their parents used to gather them near places with fire, also known as Ebioto in quotation, for counseling, which is not done by parents of these days, because parents of these days do not have time to talk to their children and their parents of these days do not have time to talk to their children, and that leads to bad behaviors. For example, children join peer groups, which leads to smoking and usage of drugs. With those very lovely remarks, I beg to submit. A particular country to tour different things of culture like dressing and their language, which would earn a living to the government for, for developing our country. But these days, every time people are tired of seeing animals. Everywhere they go, animals. At their homelands, they are seeing animals. Even in the place where they have come to tour, they have seen animals. That means they will not be enjoying, since we know that tourism is the state whereby people visit places for study purpose and for pleasure or enjoyment. Now those people, when they have not been enjoyed, that means that they shall be advertising negative reports about a certain
Thank you, Chairperson. Excuse me, Honorable. Can you please explain to me what is tourism?
Tourism is the state whereby people visit places for study purposes and for pleasure or enjoyment.
Cause of bad behaviors in our community today. Mothers of long ago used to teach their children how to prepare food. That leads that if I go to marriage, I'm going to have a better future because I was taught how to prepare food in the community from my mother. If I was not taught by my mother long ago, I will not know how to prepare food, and even that will cause that I will not know how to prepare food for my husband when I grow up.